Welcome back, warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. Hello, Iron Ear Michael Rodriguez. Hello, Vanessa June. Hello, everyone. You all, we have got to go over this video right now. Yes, it's a real life reaction because I only got within a couple of minutes of this video. Now, I've already put the full link to this video in the description, so you guys can go back and look at it at your leisure. You know, Candace Owens has been following this whole Kamala Harris scandal thing, and you are not going to believe this. I'm talking MK Ultra stuff. Her mother and another marriage. Oh Lord, what else is going to happen? And you already see all the things that are going on with Barack Obama messing things up for her campaign. I don't know if he's trying to help or hurt her. I don't even know. But before we get into this, guys, don't forget to like the video. You got to like, comment, share, and all the things to get this message out. I really appreciate you guys. I'm on my way to 100,000 subscribers. I'm getting close to 54,000 right now. So I got a little ways to go, and I really appreciate all your help. So before we get into it, I'm going to do like a little bitty prayer right here. Father, in the name of Jesus, God, we thank you so much for your grace and your mercy. Father, you are awesome. And we come before you asking you to forgive us for our sins. And we pray for unity in the body of Christ, a national revival, an actual international revival, that you bring down, baptize your people with fire, and that we are bold enough to speak the truth, live the truth, and just cling on to you with everything we have. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, guys, today was the first day of early voting in Georgia. I've got on my little peach sticker. Yes, I voted. You already know how I voted. Now, I get a little paranoid a little bit when I go vote. I vote and I'm just like, let me make sure I review who I don't want any hanky-panky, no funny business now. I got to make sure it stays on who I voted for. I'm just double checking and rechecking. You know what I'm saying? You can't blame me, right? But yes, I do have on my sticker because I voted. The very first day of early voting is done. I did my duty. All right, so you know what today is about. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Just like the video. Thank you guys so much for joining me. So we got some more skeletons that keep falling out of Kamala Harris's closet. I mean, she's got so many skeletons. Some of them have meat on their bones. This is crazy. This is wild. You know, I see why there has been a concerted effort to manipulate things. And I'm just going to say, for the sake of internet safety, all these things are allegedly. I don't know if they're true. They could not be true. Who knows? Everything is allegedly. But I am going to go ahead and start going, guys, I got to say certain things now. You know what I got to do. I got to say certain things because, they don't want you to say, you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started into this. Thank you guys for joining me here tonight. I'm going to try not to belabor this. It may go a little over 30 minutes. All right. Oh, and one more thing. Tomorrow is the beginning at sundown tomorrow, October 16th. It is the Feast of Tabernacles. I will not be doing a live video tomorrow night. So just keep that in mind. Like, what happened? Why is she not doing a video? You guys, if for some reason I don't do a video, it is because it is a biblical holiday. So tomorrow is Feast of Tabernacles, the first day. It starts at sundown. So I have videos, during the day, but after sundown, I won't be able to do that 9:30 p.m. So let's get into this.
And so when I read this guy and he's saying that her mother was a part of the MK Ultra program, that she was essentially experimenting on monkeys, it kind of made things fit for me in a way, just like it passed the sniff test, because I know, and we're not going to get into it in this episode, that the civil rights movement was not a natural movement. It was a movement that was being done by people that had an interest in changing the dynamics in America. Black Americans were essentially just the tools. Obviously, we know that after the civil rights movement, some of the things that were installed were meant to actually destroy the Black community. When you get into LBJ, who was horrifically racist. I mean, so much happened in the 60s, shooting of JFK, that we still don't have answers for, but we kind of know who shot JFK and who was behind the shooting of JFK. Anyways, This guy is saying that her mother was a part of that. And that makes sense to me because we know that Shamala Goplin, just don't know if I'm saying her name right, incredibly intelligent.
Gotta say that I know who had something to do with the JFK assassination. Just want to put that out there.
Scientist, and yet spent so much time at these protests, just intertwining herself in the civil rights movement. Not the average thing that somebody who's like experimenting on baboons is like, okay, get a free weekend, I want to go down to a protest, unless you're being told to sort of infiltrate and make yourself a part of these protests. So I thought, okay, this is plausible, but also not really relevant, right? Because it's not going to shape the election. You can't exactly blame Kamala for the crimes of her mother. Also, if her mother worked for the government and they told her to experiment on monkeys, okay, what are you going to do? But it was something else that was buried within this article that caught my eye. Okay. Now, before I tell you what that was, the first thing that you're thinking is, Candace, how do you know that this Japanese guy wasn't just some crazy person? That's what my husband said. Fair point. Obviously, you get tons of emails. This could be a total schizophrenic guy who's just putting together a storyline and is writing all crazy. So I said, let me just do a little bit of research into this guy. And there's actually tons of things available about him. And there's actually a video of him speaking about something that has nothing to do with Kamala. So I want to give you guys the opportunity to practice your own discernment. I'm a big believer in believing your own eyes and believing your own ears, right? So I'm going to show you a video of the author of that article. I'm telling you, his name is Yoichi Shimatsu. And here is a video of him. We're just going to show you a clip of him discussing the Japanese Fukushima nuclear disaster. Take a listen.
Well, there's two phenomena that came out of the Fukushima nuclear releases in 2011, when huge amounts of radioactive isotopes were released from, especially from reactor 3, but the 3 reactors that melted down, and the reactor 4 spent fuel pool, which was on fire. The first problem was that the disaster occurred on 3/11 in March, but by April through May of that same year, 2011, a massive ozone hole started to open up over the North Pole. And the timing suggests that it was a catastrophic event caused by some phenomena, which could only have been the Fukushima disaster. What the basis of that is, the scientific basis for this ozone hole would be that every ionizing radioactive isotope, every single one of them, are massive destroyers of ozone.
So what do your eyes and ears tell you about that guy immediately? Not a crazy person, seems highly intelligent. The reason why we do that is because one of the exercises that journalists today take place in is constantly trying to discredit people, calling people crazy. Don't pay attention to this person. They're a racist. They're a sexist. They're crazy. You look at this guy, you go, okay, this is a Japanese man. He sounds very intelligent. He's none of those things. It wouldn't make sense for a Japanese guy just to be randomly racist towards an Indian woman. Okay. And I can now tell you a little bit about his background. Shimatsu is about as intelligent and as accomplished as he sounds. He is the former editor of the Japan Times. If you're not familiar with the Japan Times, it is the largest and the oldest English newspaper in Japan. And he received his master's in journalism from Berkeley University. Yes, the old stomping grounds of Kamala's mother and Kamala's father, who he claims to know. He claims to know the mother. He claims to have run the same circles as her. Now, as I was reading his piece, the hatred that he feels for Kamala Harris and her family is palpable. And he offers a reason for that hatred. He claims that it's because he mentored someone named Jeff Adaki, who was involved in San Francisco politics. And indeed, he was. Jeff Adaki was mysteriously murdered. This is according to him. You look it up. The story is incredible. He was a lawyer. He was a public defender. And he was also a San Francisco mayoral candidate who died in some unbelievably suspicious circumstances after having made enemies with the San Francisco political establishment. The establishment was after him, making statements against him. He was coming after their pensions. He had amassed a lot of power. People liked him. And one such person, by the way, who was opposed to him and ran a candidate against him was Willie Brown. Yeah, Willie Brown, the one that Kamala, the married man that Kamala had an affair with, that gave her political comeuppance. And so, yeah, you look into that Jeff Adaki story about how he died, how days before he died, he was saying that the medical examiner was corrupt, and then that medical examiner was the same one who conducted an autopsy on his dead body, and then that autopsy result was reversed. I mean, it is as shady as it gets, just a true California, San Francisco scandal. So this author was the mentor to this man, and he still believes that he was murdered. And I will let you guys decide. We're going to park that aside for a moment, because Shamazi makes another stunning claim right at the top of his piece that caught my attention. I'm going to read it to you verbatim. This is what he wrote in the essay. He wrote, "About a decade ago, I was scanning the society page with a photo of Kamala Harris's marriage to a wealthy Canadian British businessman. My personal dislike of her, since my sojourn in San Francisco, followed by the mysterious murder of Jeff Adaki, I was something of his mentor to the evil brew of San Francisco Democrat politics, made me want to vomit on seeing her overjoyed smile, arm in arm with a British subject, conferring on her 2 added citizenships, Brit and Canadian, atop of her American passport and maybe even Indian residency papers. She's a worldly woman indeed, and in action. Like so much of her personal record, her marriage to the Canuck has since been scrubbed from the record as if it never happened. That's very convenient for her, run for the presidency, which just allows foreign citizens to hold the highest position in American governance. Oh, yes, did I ever mention that Kamala's a cheater in more ways than one?" Okay, so I'm looking at this guy. He seems to have a pretty good memory. He definitely has a record, which I would say makes him a legitimate person. Like I said, as an editor to the Japan Times, this is not some kooky, crazy person. Now we know that he did, in fact, run the same circles as her, the same circles as potentially her mother. And he is recalling with tremendous detail a photo of her having married some Canadian British guy that he says has since been scrubbed from the internet. My instinct just right away went, I think this man is telling the truth.
Wow.
He has, you can tell, like I said, contempt for her. He can tell as you read his piece that he believes that she is involved, and just like her mother was, in the higher echelons of the government, involved with the feds who are able to sort of disappear these sorts of things. My instinct just says, Candace, you should look into this. Because, by the way, just even the backstory, the idea that this woman never got married at all until she met Doug Emhoff, who swept her off her feet in 2014 when she was 49 or 50 years old, questionable. But of course, then you go, why would she hide her marriage? Like, no one really cares if you're previously married anymore. Nobody really holds, people who are not Christians, I would say, don't really hold the sacrament of marriage. It's not important. People get divorced all the time. Why hide this? Why hide a marriage? There would have to be something very big about her spouse that she wouldn't want us to know. Maybe who he is, maybe like he suggests, it's because he's not a citizen, or there's something about her citizenship that's a question mark. Like I said, I don't know, but I'm curious. It has my attention. So I decided to actually run her name and see if there was ever, or maybe there's more than one previous marriage. Who knows? I actually never even thought to take this angle, and I decided to look into it to see if I could find any hits on a marriage between Kamala and somebody else. And I did come across something very interesting. Now, I want you to take this with a grain of salt. There could, of course, be another Kamala Devi Harris who resided in California. But we did come across a Kamala Devi Harris who applied for a marriage certificate on April 29th of 1984. So our Kamala would have been 20 years old. I'm going to show you that document. You'll notice that it is blurred. It's intentionally blurred because you have to purchase it, which we have. So you guys don't have to go out and do that. Essentially, you have to purchase it and then they deliver it electronically within 24 hours. We did that this morning because it was closed yesterday. What it shows us is a marriage between a Kamala D. Harris and a Philip J. Henderson, which took place in Reno, Nevada. What we know from this document thus far is that the Kamala that is listed, Kamala D. Harris, was a resident of California, and that her husband's residence is listed as in Michigan. That is literally all we know. Okay. Like I said, there could be a circumstance where there just is another Kamala D. Harris who was living in California and got married. And so what I'm going to do at this point, as we await more information, is to just offer it up to the public what I want you to do, again, you don't need to purchase this document, but somebody out there knows something. Somebody saved a newspaper clipping. I know grandmas be cutting out newspaper clippings, putting it on. Nobody knows why they're constantly cutting out newspaper clippings and saving it and tacking it along. Somebody will recall exactly what it is that Yoichi is saying he recalls, that she was married to a Canadian. Maybe somebody still has that newspaper clipping. More details. Again, maybe there was a marriage that took place in Canada and you guys are able to go through the documents in Canada to see that if you can find something, you can just check wherever it is that you live. Like I said, this has caught my interest. I believe there is something there. Like I said, Kamala D. Harris is not the most popular name in the entire world. And I also found something very strange that when I was looking this up, somebody had intentionally tried to blend, to confuse matters, that Kamala D. Harris with a Kamela, which is spelled with an E, Kamela Harris, who was living and is still alive, lived her entire life in Washington. They intentionally tried to blend the records to confuse it. I thought that was very strange. Like I said, we know nothing yet. We are asking for the public. If you know anything, remember anything, recall anything, if you are Canadian and you recall something, if you're American and you know something or saw something or remember the same thing he remembers, message us, send us an email rather at info@CandiceOwens.com. In the meantime, we have reached out. We were able to get his email. We have reached out to Yoichi Shimatsu, and we are hopeful that we will hear more. We'll take a brief pause here.
Wow. What do you guys think about all this? Looks like she may allegedly have been married before when she was 19. And it said April of, forgot the date. Well, it was April of 99 or whatever it was. Or 89. I think it was 1989. I don't know. It might have been 84. It might have been 84. She would have been 19 going on 20. But yeah, that would have been 84, whatever that was. She would have been like almost 20 years old if this is legit, if this is the same person that was married to this British Canadian guy. And then you got to wonder, like, okay, you were young, you made a mistake. There's no reason to hide that. No one cares if anyone's been married before. I'm a believer, and I don't even hold it against people if they got married before and it didn't work out. I mean, whatever the reason is, you got to ask yourself, why do people hide these things? So what's going on with this? I don't know. I might start doing some digging on my own. If you guys find anything, email me, chatwithmeLindaB@gmail.com. But wow, you guys, what do you think? I mean, that is just, yeah, yes. I mean, she gets onto that bone, honey. She won't let go. That Candace won't let go. Ooh, like a dog on a bone, I tell you. Wow. I'm going to skip through this a little bit because, we're wanting the good stuff. We don't want to hear about the sponsor, no offense, but we want the good stuff here. So let's get back to it. Hey, Chris. All's well. Let's get back into this craziness.
.com. All right, guys, let's get into some stories. So Barack Obama is back making the rounds. Okay. He says that Black men should be voting for Kamala Harris. And I just think that I have a lot to say about this. I think that it's time. It is time, Black America. It is time for us to revisit Barack Obama in general. And I know, okay, it's a sensitive subject. I know this is one of those things where me, the messenger, is definitely going to get shot because none of us were awake back in 2008. So when people were pointing out some oddities about Barack Obama, right, everyone was quick to go, oh, that's because of racism. Like, that's like, come on, this is absolutely happening because you just don't like him because he's Black. And I count myself among them. I have to always remind you guys, like, I was a liberal or left leaning. I never actually voted for Democrats, but I too thought that anybody that was saying anything about him was racially motivated. I cried the night that Barack Obama won. But I want to be clear. I've grown up since. I've got 3 kids now. I'm married. I'm seeing the world through a different way. I realize what the media is, and I realize how they really do think that Black people are stupid. And in the retrospect, there were definitely some very weird things about Barack Obama. For example, and this is just a fact, back in 1991, when Barack Obama was completely unknown to the public, he was working with a literary agency that was named Acton and Distal, okay? They were tasked with promoting his first book, which was a book that was meant to be entitled Journeys in Black and White, which actually never wound up being published. But in anticipation of his book being published, they were promoting Barack Obama and other authors that were on their roster. And they promoted them in a booklet, which they distributed to people in the publishing industry, like, hey, here are our authors that we want you to publish. And in the booklet, they included a biography of all of their clients. And this is the biography that they included of Barack Obama. Okay, take a look here. It says, this is real, 100% real. Barack Obama, the first African-American president of the Harvard Law Review, was born in Kenya and raised in Indonesia and Hawaii. The son of an American anthropologist and a Kenyan finance minister, he attended Columbia University and worked as a financial journalist and editor for Business International Corporation. Blah, 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 okay.
All right, let me just stop. Hold the press. Stop the press. This, I don't know if this real, I ain't even know. I haven't seen this video before, guys. I'm really watching it with you for the very first time. I saw only the first 4 or 5 minutes. I didn't even know she was going to even bring up Barack Obama. I'm thinking the whole video is going to be about Kamala Harris and her family and things like that. She's saying, this is a clipping saying Barack Obama was born where? Oh, Lord. Lord, 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 Lord. I don't know what's going on here, but I'm just reacting to a video. I'm saying I don't necessarily believe all this stuff. I don't, this is just, Candace Owens' video. Okay, let's just get back to it.
So the whole concept of, like I said, that's 100% legit. The whole concept of whether or not he was born in Kenya was not coming out of racist ideas, right? It wasn't because people were just trying to delegitimize him. It was because he had a literary agent, and that literary agent published a pamphlet, and that pamphlet said that he was born in Kenya. And then suddenly that changed, and they were like, no, never mind. He was born in the USA. That person who published this never gave an answer for why they wrote that. They tried to say that maybe the literary agency just wrote that. Why would anybody just write that you're born in Kenya? It's like a weird thing to write. Okay. Doesn't matter in the scheme of things. He was already president for 8 years, but it's good to go back on that. And then of course there was this other odd thing that happened. He did, by the way, grow up in Indonesia. That's a fact, right? He, the first 8 years of his life were spent in Indonesia. His mother moved him to Indonesia, and he went by a totally different name. He went by the name Barry Soetoro. Here's an old clip of journalist Matt Meager from Inside Edition revealing that truth. Just so you know, these were not conspiracies. Okay, take a listen.
As Senator Barack Obama has made his run for president, some have questioned his background, particularly the 4 years he spent as a child in Indonesia. He was educated in 2 schools, first a Catholic school and then later a public school. Matt Mahar traveled to Indonesia to take you to both of the schools the candidate attended.
This is the Assisi Catholic Grammar School in Jakarta, Indonesia. And Barack Obama is on his way to becoming its most famous former student.
Barack Obama.
The only record of Obama having attended the school is this old register. And look, it lists his name.
You guys, I'm sorry. I feel kind of crazy seeing this right here. I don't want to get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I can do this. What do you guys think? Give me some advice. This is just a video. I didn't know. I'm not sure. I'm just reacting to it. This is scaring the heck out of me. Oh Lord, just pray for me, okay? Just pray for me. I need some prayers, Iron Ear girl. You my girl. I need some prayers right now.
As Barry Soetoro. That's the name Obama took from his Indonesian stepfather, Lolo Soetoro.
Okay. So whatever you make of this, what we know is that Barack Obama was, first and foremost, right after she gave birth, his white mother is the person that raised him, okay? Her name is Stanley Dunham. There she is right there. That is Stanley Dunham. Okay, he never lied about this. He did not grow up in a household with his Kenyan father at all, Barack Obama Sr., whatever. He was raised by his mother, Stanley Dunham, and then she married a person who worked for the Indonesian government as a geographer. She married Lolo Soetoro, and Barry Soetoro was born. He then moved to Indonesia. He went to school in Indonesia, and then he gets sent back to Hawaii at the age of 10. So for the first 10 years of his life, I'm just going, okay, like he was not exposed to Black people at all. He was exposed to Indonesians. And then he gets sent to Hawaii to get raised by his exceedingly white grandparents. Here's a picture of his grandparents. That's Madeline Dunham and Stanley Dunham, the person whose mother has the name of her father. So then, he is in Hawaii as well. And in case you didn't know this, he was extraordinarily wealthy. You probably could figure that out by all this moving around. That's why while he was in Hawaii, he was enrolled in a private school. He attended the Punahou School, where tuition is for grades K through 12. Tuition is $31,000 per year. That's today, so you can account for inflation, okay? But that's where his grandparents enrolled him, okay? So it's important to note also that in 1970, when Barry Obama got to Hawaii, there were only 5,925 Black people in all of Hawaii. Okay. And it's worth noting that 80% of those, north of 80% of those 5,000 Black people were in the military. He was not exposed to Black people at all. That's what I'm trying to make the point. Okay. He had literally not a single part of his upbringing was he around Black people. There were no Black students at his very expensive private school. Okay, there's no Black people in Indonesia. And really, for those of you that haven't been to Hawaii, it's still like it has nothing to do with America. It feels like we just took Hawaii and we're like, yeah, you're America. But when you go out there, you're like, okay, this is like its own thing entirely. They look more Asian than anything else. And they're kind of a little pissed off that we took them, if we're being completely honest about Hawaii now. So he went there. His mother went to a school the same one that his dad went to in Hawaii, the same one that his stepdad went into Hawaii. Really kind of feels like he was a part of some weird military program. And then after that, after going to his $31,000 per year private school in Hawaii, he goes to Occidental College Occidental University or college, whatever it is, in California for 2 years, where he roomed with a white guy for the first year, white guy with blonde hair. He's written about it for his freshman year, and then moved to live off campus in his sophomore year with a Pakistani for 1 year. His dorm mates have described him as doing a mean Mick Jagger impression. Literally, I know I've heard the name Mick Jagger, but I had no idea that he was the lead singer of the Rolling Stones until today. I was today years old when I learned that. I'm just saying, I understand like people grew up in a household, they listen to rock and roll. I didn't grow up in that household. MJ was not Mick Jagger for us. It was Michael Jackson. The whole reason we're doing this series is because somebody came for the Jacksons. That's the kind of household I grew up in. So then Barry Obama met and dated a woman in his sophomore year. Her name was Alexandra McNear. You might remember she's the one that released the letters that Barry wrote to her, where he talked about his homosexual feelings. Like he says, like he makes loves to men in his mind. And so he had like homosexual inklings. He then went to Columbia University and still dated Alexandra McNear and was writing her these letters at that time. Anyways, I'm just thinking like, what part of Barack Obama's life gave him the authority to tell Black men how to act Black in America?
This is some crazy stuff, but I would just want to pause and say, yay, Old Town Golf. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you so much. Woo. This is a lot of information. I wish I could say I had never heard of any of this before. I have heard of this before. I just didn't know that she was going to talk about it in this video. I've heard all of this before. Again, thank you, Old Town Golf, for the super chat. I mean, I can't say I haven't heard this. We don't know how true this is. This is all allegedly, right, guys? Allegedly. So I'm not saying it's true. But it's just a lot of questions going on. Seem to be some similarities between him and Kamala Harris, because there's questions about both of them when it comes to their family and their upbringing and what they've been experienced, what they came across growing up, what they've been exposed to. Wow. Whoa, it's crazy, right, guys? This is massive. Ooh. And when I first saw Barack Obama back in, I don't know if it was 2006 or 7 or whenever it was, I heard God say he's a Muslim. That's what I heard. That's what I honestly heard. And I believe it was God talking to me. And only time will tell if what I heard is true. But that's what I heard, and I didn't vote for him because of that. And because he was trying to be something that he was not. I'm like, why are you pretending to be Christian by going to a Christian church and you're really Muslim? You know what I mean? So it just seemed like not, it just seemed like he was hiding something. So I never voted for Barack Obama. So at least I can say I did not do that. But this is some crazy stuff. And I'm going to continue this video. I really am. This is very interesting. I'm not going to interrupt too much more unless I get a super chat or something. I'm not going to really interrupt. This is crazy. This is crazy. Oh my gosh. Let's get back into it, guys. Let's see what else she has to say.
That's what I'm asking you. What part of his life? Was it Hawaii? Was it Indonesia? Was it Alexandra McNear? At what point did suddenly Barry Soetoro become the person who gets to tell Black men how to act in America? Because that's exactly what he's doing now. That's exactly what he has been doing. Is just because once you do a photo op with Jay-Z or Diddy, suddenly you're just handed an award and gone, okay, now you're Black. Now everybody in the Black community has to listen to you. Because that's what it seems like. His history and his background is equally as shady as Kamala Harris's, if we are being frank. And they're bringing him out to essentially whip Black Americans into shape because, they gave him the Black card. So now Black people better just listen to Barack Obama. So here he is suddenly lamenting the fact that Black men just aren't energetic enough for Kamala Harris. Take a listen.
Is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers.
The brothers.
So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences. He's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got to say something because he's pandering. Okay, this is what Democrats do. He brings up, first of all, he says the brothers. Oh my gosh, that's about as bad as Hillary Clinton and her hot sauce in her purse. You know what I mean? This is as bad as Kamala saying she smoked weed. It's talking down. It's as bad as Kamala. Well, it's not as bad as this, but when Kamala Harris had that rally and Megan Thee Stallion was twerking at a presidential rally, really? And people came there for the concert anyway. They weren't thinking about Kamala Harris. Some people started to leave when she came up to speak. But can you see the pandering? The brothers. You want to make himself blacker and get down. It's more pronounced with the brothers. And she went to a school like you, and she had to struggle like you, and she understands. Who, the Democrats, I've been doing this for a while, doing politics, that they are actually very predictable at this point. This is predictable behavior.
I'm sorry, Barry Toro, but you are going to have to sit your ass down. I got to tell him right now. That's what Barry has to sit his ass down. This is like, she understands the struggle no more than you understand the struggle. Both of you, okay? How does this work? Again, Barack Obama was raised by 3 extraordinarily wealthy white adult. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying that he is not genetically Black. He has been honest with the fact that he didn't know his dad. Okay. His dad died, I think, when he was in college at some point. He never was raised by him, was never raised around Black people ever. That's fine. But why are you speaking to the brothers? Like, when did it become the brothers? What is this? How do 3 white people raise a strong Black brother? I want to know. Is it like grandma and granddad Dunham raised him to be a strong Black man, just like Kamala's Indian mother raised her to be a strong Indian woman or something? Like, what's actually happening right now? This is so insulting. And I am the most insulted by this, by the way, because I have dealt with years, the Black community telling me that I'm not Black because I voted for Trump. Like, you're not Black because you're a Republican. Why? Because I see through this stupid BS, this dumb game of thinking you can whip Black Americans with some hip hop music, with a Megan Thee Stallion twerking on stage, with Jay-Z and Beyonce marching at a BLM protest, and suddenly King, Queen, LeBron James sending out a tweet. Like, that's literally supposed to motivate me to vote, because I can see through the BS. I look up these people's background. I'm going, what about you is culturally Black? Barack Obama is not culturally Black. I'm sorry. It's time for us to accept that. Like I said, I was moved by him too in 2008. I thought, oh, okay. Like, I really didn't understand his background, and I questioned people who questioned him. But we have to just come to terms with the fact that we have been being played by Democrats for a very long time. And the reality is, he is just as shady in terms of his background as Kamala Harris. I am a firm believer that they are breeding politicians. His background is almost too similar to Kamala Harris's in terms of literally no relation to the Black community, having so much wealth, and then as if they went through a school of what it is exactly that they should say to relate to the brothers. To relate to the brothers, to relate to the sisters. Oh, a little bit of Cardi B. I can't. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm done with this. And I am actually very happy that Black men seem to be taking a larger leap away from this. I hope that Black women will follow suit and recognize this, to see how ridiculous it is that a woman who is saying she's washing greens in a bathtub, and a guy who's suddenly calling Black people brothers, despite having literally no introduction to what it means to be culturally a Black person in America. I hope that we all can become awakened. But I'm very grateful that Black men seem to be holding the line. Like, I am with that 100%. All right, guys, brief break here to remind you about American finance.
Whew, guys. Wow. This is crazy, right? Look at all this mind-blowing stuff. Whoa. And I saw a video too. You know, you got to go to my Rumble channel. I'm just saying. What she just said, go to my Rumble channel. Yeah, ChatWithMeLindaB, but type it in as one word when you're on Rumble. I'm serious. You got to check out that video. Whoa. I did not know she was going to go there today. Candace, girl, I did not know. Candace Owens, farmer, I did not know you were going to go there tonight. Okay, today you just went all the way over there. I thought you was going to stay on Kamala. You went to Obama Nation. Obama. And you know what? I said it before I heard Candace say it. Their backgrounds are equally shady. And I don't care what color a person is. I mean, I don't care. You know, clearly I don't care because I voted for Trump today. I don't care. He's white. Who cares? I want the best person for the job. He's better than her. I mean, come on, let's just get over it. Okay. But I do notice that they put up people and call them Black that aren't really Black. Because I consider a person with one parent, one race, and another race mixed. I don't consider them Black. I don't consider Barack Obama Black. I don't. He's mixed race. Okay. Kamala Harris, definitely not Black. They push somebody, and this is how the Democrats are. They really despise Black people, so they get someone that's not even really Black, but say they black, you know, especially with her. And why go that route? I mean, I know why they do it. They want the black vote, and that's how they do things on the Democrat side. I get it. But I think when people start to wake up, we're going to realize that color, gender, and all of that does not matter. It is your heart that matters. I know the Bible says, I just read it this morning, 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7, I believe, is when the prophet Samuel went to anoint the next king of Israel. And he looked at Jesse's oldest son and said, surely this is the Lord's anointed. He said, don't look at him, his appearance or his height. I've rejected him. Man looks on the outward appearance, but I, the Lord, look at the heart. We have to start as Christians, look at the heart of people and not their exterior. Don't look at color, gender, whatever. That stuff does not matter. Can you do what you say you can do? Can you do it? Or do you have a good track record? That's what I want to know. Policy over personality. What someone, they like to nitpick Donald Trump with every little thing he says. That doesn't matter. Who cares? What's the policy that's going to affect my life? At the end of the day, that's what I care about. But you guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this. But don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell. But remember, you can catch me on Rumble, ChatWithMeLindaB, but type it in as one word. And so you can email me too, ChatWithMeLindaB@gmail.com. You guys, I'm on my way to 100K subscribers. I need your help in doing that. I'm really grateful for your support. Also note, I will not be here tomorrow night. It is Feast of Tabernacles. It starts tomorrow night at sundown. So I will not be here tomorrow night. Well, thank you guys for joining me. The full link to the video, the link to the full video is in the description. You all be blessed. Love God, your families, these United States of America. And as I always say, march on, warriors. Good night, everybody. Thank you guys so much for your support. And vote. Vote